So what is the importance of Article 2? Why is it relevant? Now, Article 2 deals with taxes, and basically what it means is that whatever taxes are covered under Article 2 are the ones to which the treaty is applicable. Now, there can be a lot of forms of taxes, something like direct tax, what you have as income tax. Then there are indirect taxes like VAT, GST, and all of those things. The tax treaty that we are referring to, the OECD Model Tax Convention, the UN Model Convention, they are applicable only to direct taxes. They are not applicable to indirect taxes. Then in addition to this, these direct taxes, if there are certain defaults in their payment, then there may be certain penalties or interest that may be charged because of the default. Now, the purpose of the Article 2 is to define taxes, and when we will look at this definition, we will see that it is not applicable to penalties or interest. But the important thing is, before we apply the provision of the tax treaty, we should confirm that the tax which we are referring to is actually covered under Article 2. The second thing is that a treaty is entered into on a particular date. So let's say a treaty becomes effective from January 1, 1990. And there are two countries, A and B. The taxes which are levied by A, let's call them as X, and the taxes which are levied by B, let's call them as Y. Now, subsequently, in January 1, 2020, X levies another tax, Z, which replaces X. Now, because the treaty covered the application of taxes which existed on the date of the convention, the problem will be that if there are any replacement that happens, or there are any additional taxes which are applied by either of the countries which are party to the convention, the provision of treaty may be rendered useless. In such a case, even the treaty provides that the provision of the tax treaty will be applicable to taxes, and taxes are defined to include not only the taxes that exist on the date on which the convention is signed, but even any additional or any taxes which replace the existing taxes but are of a similar nature as the taxes forming part of Article 2 under the convention. The third is that in addition to, let's say, the direct tax, there can be certain surcharge or cess that may be applied under a particular country's domestic tax law. The definition of tax also helps you to understand whether or not the provision of treaty will be applicable to these surcharges.